One of the commonly encountered pathologies is trigger finger, and one of the more common areas for trigger finger to be involved is at the A1 pulley. So we're going to start with the bone anatomy, and we're going to find the area of the metacarpal phalangeal joint. We're going to place the transducer in a long axis over the metacarpal phalangeal joint, and we'll describe the anatomy starting with the bone surface coming to superficial. First, you're going to see the rounded structure of the metacarpal head. To the right-hand side of the screen will be the phalanx. Lying superficial to the metacarpal head is the hypoechoic articular cartilage. On top of the articular cartilage, you're going to see a grayish tissue, which is the volar plate, which attaches to the phalanx. Superficial to the volar plate is going to be the tendon structure, the flexor tendon structure, which will include the profunda and the superficialis. And sitting right on top of the metacarpal head, a thin band of tissue over the metacarpal head, which is the area of the A1 pulley. Now, once we have established the anatomy in its long axis, we can differentiate the superficialis from the profunda tendons. If I isolate the distal phalanx and just flex the fingertip, you'll see the lower half of the tendon move, while the superficial portion does not. The part that's moving is the profunda, which is attached to the distal phalanx. Now, as I move the whole finger, the tendon structure moves in unison and slides completely underneath the area of the A1 pulley. In cases of trigger finger, the A1 pulley can be thickened, the tendon can be thickened, or you can have a nodule that sits on the tendon that does not allow the tendon to slide underneath the pulley itself. Turning the transducer into a short axis over the distal phalanx and moving down to the metacarpal head, we'll go through the anatomy one more time. We'll see the bright curved linear structure of the metacarpal head, the hypoechoic articular cartilage sitting on top of that. Superficial to the articular cartilage is going to be the area of the volar plate. The ovoid structure of the complex tendon of the superficialis and profunda. And superficial to that is a band of tissue that appears hypoechoic, that is the area of the A1 pulley. Once again, by moving the fingertip, you can see the profunda moving deep to the superficialis tendons. Moving the whole finger, once again, the tendon structure is moving in unison. Now, the A1 pulley shows the anisotropy on either side due to the fact of the beam not being perpendicular. As I move the transducer over to the radial side and angle back, we can actually make out the structure of the A1 pulley on the left-hand side of the screen next to the tendon. Doing the same, just rocking the transducer, looking onto the ulnar side, once again we can see the fibers of the A1 pulley. Now, last but not least, as I move my transducer distal over to the phalanx, the tendon structure will divide so we can now see a separate profunda and superficialis tendon. As I flex the fingertip, you'll see the profunda push up and the superficialis tendons on either side are not moving at this point. That concludes evaluation for trigger finger.